Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today in this video I'm going to review the RYZE Tello Selfie Quadcopter. This quadcopter is powered by DJI and Intel technology, so this is not the ordinary toy grade quadcopter, and it also comes with a price tag. It costs $100 if you buy it in the States, and if you buy it from Banggood or from Gearbest it costs about $135, so this is definitely not a cheap quadcopter. In this video I'm going to go over its features and of course take it for a test flight and see how it performs. So let's start by opening this simple box which got a little bit damaged during the shipping. So inside we get in the quadcopter, and inside this small compartment on the bottom of the box we get in this bag with the battery and one set of spare propellers and a propeller extractor tool, and we also getting the instructions manual. So this is everything we're getting inside, pretty minimal, and by the way the instructions manual, at least the one I got, are only Chinese, so they're not going to be very useful. The quadcopter itself looks pretty slick. On the front we can find a 720p camera with a fixed angle, so you won't be able to adjust it. Next to it we can find an LED indicator. The motors are 8520 brushed motors, and the propeller's diameter is about 76 millimeters. On the bottom of the quadcopter we can find two proximity sensors that will allow the quadcopter to monitor its height. On the bottom we can find these four rubber landing pads, and you can see that also the propeller guards are attached. If you want to remove them you will need to simply snap them like that. If you fly the quadcopter indoors, it's recommended to fly with the propeller guards, but if you fly them outdoors and you want to extend the flight time of the quadcopter, I recommend you to remove them. Later in this video I'm going to measure the flight time with the propeller guards and without them. Finally, on the right side we can find the power button over here and the micro USB port on the left side that will enable you to charge the battery of the quadcopter. Just like other DJI products, the included battery is proprietary, and the included one is a 1.1 ampere HV1S battery. In order to charge it, you will need to insert it to the quadcopter, and then you will be able to charge it with the micro USB port. So after you connect the micro USB port, you can see that this blue indicator is going to start flashing. Once the LED indicator will be turned solid blue, it means that the charging process has been finished. Fully charging the battery takes about an hour when using a charger with 2 amperes output. Now let's weigh up the quadcopter. The weight without the propeller guards is 80.2 grams, and after adding the propeller guards, the weight is 89.1 grams. As you can see, the Tello doesn't come with a remote controller. In order to control it, you will need to download the Tello app from the Google Play or from the App Store. It requires iOS 9 or Android 4.4.0. Then you will need to install it. Then open the app. Now we need to turn on the quadcopter. In order to do so, just short press the power button and long press it until you're going to see this LED indicator flashing. And now you can see the LED indicator is shortly flashing in this manner, which means now it's ready to connect. Now hit Connect Tello, search for the Tello Wi-Fi hotspot. Now it's connected. You can go back, and as you can see, now we get in the video feed. Controlling the quadcopter is done through these virtual joysticks over here. It's also possible to control the quadcopter using a Bluetooth controller. I just purchased this Bluetooth controller in order to show you how it works, but unfortunately it's not compatible with the Tello. So I'm going to link in the description box down below 2 controllers that are fully compatible with the Tello. Unfortunately in this video I'm not going to be able to demonstrate how it works, but it's pretty simple. And in the settings, after connecting the Bluetooth controller, you can go to Bluetooth controller settings, and then it shows you how to set it up. The application itself is pretty simple. You can change between taking videos or taking pictures by pressing this button, and then you can hit the red button in order to record videos, or the white button in order to take pictures. You can hit play in order to show the pictures or videos that were taken by the quadcopter. Next to the H we can see the height in meters. The maximum allowed height is 10 meters. The quadcopter is just not going to allow you to go above this point. We can see the horizontal speed in meters per second. Over here we can see the Bluetooth indicator, the Wi-Fi signal strength, and the battery status. The battery status is pretty vague and it's not in percentage, so it's going to be a little bit hard for you to monitor the status of the battery. It just gives you a general indications, but it could have been very nice if they added a percentage option. Accessing the settings menu of the app is done by pressing this cogwheel, and you can see we don't have many options. We can toggle the flight speed between fast and slow. We can enter VR mode by pressing this button, and then you're going to be able to flight FPV using cardboard style goggles. I don't think it's recommended because the delay is just too high and you're not going to fully enjoy it. And of course, for this mode, you're going to need to buy the Bluetooth controller. You can also change the Wi-Fi settings. You can change the Wi-Fi name and add password if you'd like. And by pressing more, you can access the beginner guide that will show you how to use the app. You can change the measurement between metric and imperial. The photo quality can be set between normal and high. I recommend to set it to high. Low battery warning is going to be displayed when the battery is going to reach 10%, but you can set it up to 50%. The stick mode can be changed between mode 2 and mode 1. You can change also the EV, and the bitrate can be set between auto all the way up to 4 megabytes. I recommend to leave it on auto. On these extra settings, we can check the IMU status, and you can also perform calibration. It tells you over here how to calibrate it. We can see over here the firmware version. We can also perform an update. If you would like to update the version of the quadcopter because you're connected to the Wi-Fi, what you need to do is to start the app while the quadcopter is not connected, then hit update, and then you'll be able to download the update. And after connecting to the quadcopter, you'll be able to perform the update, of course, if needed. And we can also see the app version, loader version, and we can also get some help from RYZE Tech Support. Finally, we can access the flight modes by pressing this button, and we have total of 6 different modes. First of all, you can do throw and go, which means you can just throw the quadcopter and then it will just take off by itself. Of course, when I'm going outdoors, I'm going to show you how all the modes are done. We can perform some flips. Up in air, which means the quadcopter is slowly going to get away from you and also record a video while doing so. 360 mode, which means the quadcopter is going to rotate in 360 and it's going to take continuous video until you're going to stop this mode. Circle mode, which means it's going to record a short video while just moving in circle, and after it's going to complete one circle, the video recording is going to stop. And we also have a bounce mode where the quadcopter is just going to bounce between 0.5 meter and 1.2 meters, which is kind of fun, but not very useful. In order to take off, you have 2 options. First of all, you can start the throw and go mode, and then you can just throw the quadcopter, or you can just hit this button and just slide it to take off. And now, because I waited for too long, the quadcopter overheated, and actually it's very hot on the bottom, so don't leave the quadcopter connected for a long time without flying it, and right now it auto shut down itself. If it doesn't overheat and you want to shut it down normally, what you need to do is just to short press the power button and then just long press it until the LED indicator is going to be turned off. The next thing I'm going to do is to head outdoors and to see how the quadcopter performs. Okay, so today is a pretty calm day. I've got my Tello here. Let's turn it on. Now we need to connect the Wi-Fi and also enter the app. And as you can see, now the drone is connected. So let's start the recording. And take off. It stabilizes itself at around 1 meter height. Maybe a bit more. Try to push it. And you can see that if I put my hand under it, the optic sensor is working and it just moves away. Let's check the maximum height. And as you can see, the maximum height is 10 meters. It wouldn't go up above that height. And let's turn around. You can see it's pretty stabilized. And that's pretty surprising for a semi-toy grade quadcopter that it's so stable. But of course it has DJI technology. It's not just a regular toy grade quadcopter. Let's move away and also descend. The distance to descend is about 100 meters, so let's see if we can get there. You can see I start to get some glitches and the Wi-Fi signal is weak. Let's try to get a bit lower. You can see that the picture is not smooth. Let's turn around. and you can see me over here. So I could get maybe to around 50 meters or so. Don't expect to fly too far with this quadcopter. I'm getting also some wind errors, but it's not windy. Let's play around with the modes. So we can open the modes by pressing the quadcopter button. Let's do the circle mode. High wind velocity can enter this mode. The wind is too strong for the quadcopter to end the circling mode. So you can't enter any mode when there's high wind. So I'm going to land it and then take off again, and maybe it's going to agree to enter the modes. So let's bring the quadcopter closer to me. And now I'm going to land it. Let's do the hand land. Even the hand landing can do in this mode. So just tap to land and it's going to land itself. So if it's a bit windy, it's not going to allow you to do most of its features. Okay, so it's still a bit windy, not that windy, but I'm going to try to take off again and see if it's going to agree to enter the other modes. Slide to take off. And let's do the circle mode. Okay, now it agrees. Shorter video while flying. Yes. And you can see now it records a short video while flying in a circle. So it records about 5 seconds video. Let's do another mode. Let's do the 360. Now it tells me about the wind. Okay, we can enter the bounce mode. You can see that the quadcopter is going to bounce at around half a meter to 1 meter. You can see how it bounces around. Not very useful feature, but it's cute just to show around the optic sensor that it can know its position. And let's stop this mode by hitting the X button. And now it stays at about half a meter. Let's try the up and away. Record a short video of upward and backward. So let's see. You can see that it flies away from me. Of course, this quadcopter doesn't have any gestures, so unlike the Spark and the Mavic, you can't just control the quadcopter by waving your hand at it or something like that. Let's try another mode. Let's do the 360. Now it's okay. So you can see it recording a video while spinning at 360 degrees until you're going to stop it. And also when you stop this mode, it's going to finish the recording process. Let's do the flip. So you can see it can't do flips when the battery is lower than 50% because it puts more effort on the motors, so it just wouldn't work. And I want to try the throw and go feature, so I'm going to land it. Now I'm going to do the hand landing. So you need to put your hand under the quadcopter, going to sense, whoop, and you see it didn't work because maybe the wind, and it just landed itself. But on a calm day it should work without any problem. So now let's try the throw and go. First lift the quadcopter, press this icon, then it's going to start spinning, and we can just throw it, and you can see that it takes off just like that. Also, it's a pretty cool option to show the capabilities of the quadcopter. Just throw it around and just let it stabilize. And now I'm going to enter the fast speed mode. Let's see if it flies faster. See, the video feed is very glitchy even though I'm close to the quadcopter, but you can see that it flies faster. Actually much faster than in the regular mode. I'm just flying line of sight right now because I can't really see the video feed. So let me get it closer. So right now it's on fast mode. You can see how fast it goes. Let's return to normal mode so we can compare it. So right now it's on slow mode and you can compare it. You can see it's slower than before. I assume about 50% slower or something like that. You can see I'm going pitch forward all the way and maybe because of the wind, which I can hardly feel, you can see that it has some issues going this direction. But if I'm going to change to fast mode, you can see that now it is much faster. So it's also nice to practice some line of sight flying. Actually, using the phone as a remote controller is not that bad. I thought it's going to be worse. I really hoped I could try the Bluetooth controller, but it just didn't happen. The battery is getting low, so let's take it back and head back home. By the way, you can see that when it's on fast mode, you can see the blue circles around the controllers. When I put it back on slow mode, now it returned to its normal color. So let's land it. Let's try to do the hand landing again. Again, high winds. Let's try it again, maybe at a little lower height. No, it still wouldn't allow me to do the hand landing. So let's just do the tap to land. So overall, the Tello offers a couple of nice features. First of all, the most impressive feature is its video stabilization. Even though when it was windy, the quadcopter was moving around, but still the video was pretty stable. Controlling the quadcopter is pretty easy, so even someone who doesn't have any flight experience will be able to control it after a few minutes. In addition, it's pretty durable. I crashed it a few times and nothing happened to it, so it's a great feature for a beginner who is probably going to crash the quadcopter. But I do recommend, especially when flying at home, to use the Propeller Guards just to protect the surroundings and also yourself. Even though that if you're going to put your finger inside the propeller when it's walking, the quadcopter is going to stop functioning, and because these are brushed motors, they are pretty harmless. Another cool feature is the ability to do some basic programming and launch the mission on your quadcopter. In order to do it, you will need to download the Drone Blocks app, and then you'll be able to program a mission. You can take off, take a photo, do some flips and rolls, and eventually land. I tested this app on Android. It's far from perfect. It had some bugs. For example, my quadcopter just wouldn't land, but they're still developing this app, so hopefully it's going to get better. And I really like the idea of doing some basic programming and launch it on your quadcopter. It's really good to learn programming, and it's also fun, and combining both programming and flying is a great idea. Now, of course, this is not a perfect quadcopter and it suffers from some flaws. First of all, there is no micro SD slot on the quadcopter itself, so the quality of the video is affected by the signal of the Wi-Fi. If it would have been recorded directly to a micro SD card, it would have improved the quality of the video dramatically, especially because the camera is pretty decent. Second of all, the batteries of the Tello are proprietary, and in order to charge them, you will need to put the battery itself inside the Tello and use the micro USB port. It could have been nice if you could charge it externally, like the batteries of the Ishin E58, where you have a micro USB port on each battery. Of course, you can also buy an external charger, but it has an extra cost. Finally, one of the biggest issues is that this quadcopter is not cheap. It costs $135, or in the States, it costs $100. $100 is not bad, but I think that $135 is a little bit too much, especially considering that Xiaomi just released a new selfie quadcopter that costs $75, and I'm really looking forward in order to see how it will compare. Hopefully I will be able to review it soon. In addition, I just got this quadcopter from Simi. It costs $80, and I'm going to review it in the next week and see how it compares with the Tello. Now, by the way, in case you're wondering what happens if the quadcopter gets disconnected from your phone, so no, it doesn't land itself, no, it doesn't return to home, and luckily it doesn't because this quadcopter doesn't have any GPS. What happens, it just stays in the air and wait for you to reconnect to it, and it's going to land itself as soon as the battery is going to be depleted. I'm not sure why. I think a better idea was just to land it immediately, but it actually could be pretty good, because if it lands itself in the grass, it would have been hard for you to find, and if it stays in the air, probably going to find it easily, especially because you're not going to be able to get too far. The maximum distance without using a Wi-Fi repeater is about 50 meters. If you do want to extend the distance, you will need to use a repeater. I don't have one currently, so I wouldn't be able to demonstrate how it's done, but if you want, you can purchase a Xiaomi repeater, and then you will be able to extend the maximum distance to more than 100 meters, so that's pretty cool. The Xiaomi repeater is pretty cheap, and if you want to extend the maximum distance, it's a pretty good solution. The next thing I'm going to do is to perform a hover test in order to test the battery. I'm going to do it with the propeller guards and without them, and then I'm going to include some raw footage that was taken with the Tello. I hope you will enjoy the rest of this video. As always, if you have any questions about the Tello, feel free to ask it in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you like this video, and consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the notification bell if you're not already subscribed. See you on my next videos, and goodbye.